Certainly. Right now, the global food systems are, if I can say, failing us in order to have the zero hunger. That is one of the most important sustainable development goals, the SDG 2. As per our latest numbers of 2023, between 737 to 790 million people are facing hunger in the world. If we talk about the Arab region, the number is around 66 million, but that is almost, one third of the population in the Arab region. And more importantly, these numbers are increasing for the last few years. Now, we understand that, particularly in the Arab region, the conflicts and climate change are the top drivers of food insecurity. Even globally, that is true. But we cannot underestimate the importance of the consumers or the increasing populations, increasing dietary patterns, and increasing demands, that consumers are pushing the agri-food systems. And the negative impacts of the climate change, such as the droughts, irregular rain patterns, the desertification, they are decreasing the productive resources or the agricultural resources for food, while the increasing population and the demands are putting a strain on the system. So we are at a very interesting crossroads of the food systems in our world. That is why very recently the United Nations Secretary General, when he mentioned about the accelerators for the SDGs, food and food systems are the first accelerator, and that is why most of the governments all over the world are now giving much more importance to the food security and food systems in the world. If you look at the, let's say, healthy diets or the affordable healthy diets, almost 2 billion people in the world cannot afford a healthy diet. That is also a very stark number, and in the Arab region it is even more serious, because about more than 60% of the population cannot afford a healthy diet in the current situation. Um, the nutrition profile, the triple burden of the malnutrition, as we say, is also very bad, and that is having negative consequences for the future generations. So all in all, unfortunately, we are facing a very bleak picture of the food systems and the food security that is being even worsened by the conflicts and the climate change primarily. Yes, the 2008 crisis, we have to understand, was primarily a financial or economic crisis that has its impact on food security in many aspects. Right now, the crisis, it's like a poly crisis, it's multiple. It is the political problems. For example, the Ukraine war had, the Black Sea crisis in terms of supply of the cereals. We have in our Arab region ongoing conflicts. A lot of countries are getting into that, and unfortunately, situation in the future is not looking good. So this time we have much more deeper structural issues. More importantly, the access to the food or healthy food, due to the income inequalities and the financial problems in the countries, further pushed by the huge inflationary pressures, the currency devaluations in many of the countries. So this time crisis, in our view, is much deeper. Although luckily we are having a good global production, at least in the recent times, but I don't think that we can compare the situation with 2008, because this time it is worse than that. Now, what FAO and other development partners are doing is to ensure the resilience in the food systems. That is the most important part. And by resilience, we mean to ensure the sustainable availability and supply, and having a resistant global food value chains, decoupling from the conflicts or the impacts of wars and so on and so forth. But this is an extremely daunting task. It is not very easy, because it needs a buy-in and ownership from all of the governments, particularly the governments or the countries that are in the conflict, and ensuring that food is not used as a weapon, of the in the conflicts. But unfortunately, the ground realities are a bit difficult. As I said, the productive resources are going down, the demand for food is going up, and managing these global resilient supply chains are becoming more and more difficult. Therefore, we feel that there is a need for a global compact or a renewed global compact, or ensuring the food security, having some new parameters, or the new pillars for the food security, and ensuring that the political aspects of the conflicts and other things do not impact a resistant food supply chain. So that is what the development partners, including FAO, the United Nations systems, and the other organizations are doing. It is not just supply of the food in emergencies, but it is the supply of food on the sustained basis in a sustainable manner so that everyone can have an access to an affordable, healthy diet. That is the ultimate goal we all need to work on. Well, that is unfortunately a dimension that we need to be alert of. One is, of course, the political side, or let's say the military side of the conflicts, which may be temporary, or we can all wish that it's temporary. But the food security consequence of these conflicts, ongoing conflict in Sudan, in Yemen, in Gaza, and now Lebanon, is very serious. For example, to give you a very recent example, just in last week or so, about 12,000 hectares of agriculture or arable land in southern Lebanon has been abandoned. Since last October, when this conflict started and Lebanon was, although not directly involved, about 340,000 livestock had died because they could not be given care. Of course, now thousands and hundreds of thousands of people are doing temporary displacement that will have an impact on the agri-food systems. The food system, or let's say the whatever small agriculture system we had in Gaza, is completely devastated. The livestock in Gaza has been devastated. There's a huge negative impact in Yemen and Sudan, due to the conflict. The problem is that once the agri-food systems or the agriculture systems are destroyed, it takes years and years to revive that. We have to understand that majority of our rural populations in the region are linked to livestock as well. And once you destroy the livestock, that means we are destroying the whole of their wealth. So we have to understand that it is not just an average number or the aggregate number of some food production, that will go down. Not at all. It is the rural livelihoods. It's the future foods or future of food that we are impacting through these conflicts. And I think we need to pronounce the impact on the food security and the rural livelihoods much more, or at least equal to the political consequences of these conflicts as well. Let us not forget that the most important need of human beings is the food. And if we destroy the local systems, we are actually destroying the whole social fabric and livelihoods. So I would urge everyone involved to basically highlight the need and the importance of preserving the agriculture and food systems of whatever productive resources we have in the region. Imports of food and temporary supply of food is not a solution that would further exacerbate the sufferings that our nations and countries are facing at this point in time. So let us think about a regional solution where we preserve the agri-food systems as much as possible.